So alright class, now see, in the previous videos we have discussed about the kind of cells enters into the cell cycle, and then in the later video we've seen how the cell cycle is regulated, right? And we've come across very important points such as the proto-oncogenes and tumor suppressor proteins, right? And in what are tumor suppressor proteins? If you can remember, retinoblastoma proteins and P27, P21 I mentioned, these are tumor suppressor proteins, okay, which kind of deaccelerates the rate or the speed of progression of the cell, while those protein which accelerates the production or the progression of the cell are known as proto-oncogenes. So you see your cyclines, okay, CDK complexes, and along with that E2F proteins, which is the initiator of transcription, right? So initiation transcription protein. So these are the proteins along with the growth factors and all the cascade of proteins involved, right, which are required for the production of cyclin and CDK complexes. All of those are proto-oncogenes, and I've said, I think, that the proto-oncogenes, if tries to accelerate the progression of the cell, while tumor suppressor protein on the other hand try to deaccelerate and try to maintain the normal speed of the cell. So there is this continuous battle between them, okay. So so we have to remember um, these important points. Just for the sake I'm writing it, okay. So we have to remember how important E2F is, right? This is the like I said, initiation of transcription factor. It is really important for any gene to be transcribed or expressed. And cyclines, these are extremely important, which will complex with CDKs, right? These are extremely important. Growth factors and all the enzymes involved in the cascade of reactions, these are all our proto-oncogenes, okay. Proto-oncogenes, these are extremely important. If somehow, if there is a mutation, okay, if there is a mutation in the proto-oncogenes, then the acceleration of the cell becomes too high. In that case, the proto-oncogenes convert into oncogenes, okay, and the proteins involved will be oncoproteins. On the other hand, we have to remember important proteins like retinoblastoma protein, right, and P21, 27, 15, 16, 15. There are many, and all of these are also called your CDK inhibitors, okay, inhibitors, and these are extremely important. We know how CDK and cyclin complexes help in progression of the cell, right, and they are kind of inhibiting them. And obviously there is a P53 protein, okay, this is extremely important. And this basically kind of produces various proteins. In fact, these proteins are also produced by P53, and there are other proteins which help to regulate the cell progression. So today in this lecture I'll try to show how the cell cycle progresses, and we'll see how the cell checkpoints allows one phase to enter into the other phase, okay. So let's see, we've known now, so far we know how important proto-oncogenes and tumor suppressor proteins are for the regulation of the cell. Now today we'll try to see in more detail, okay. So let us begin from G0, okay. So we know G0 is a phase of a cell where it is not progressing into cell cycle because of various reasons, maybe because of the damage in the DNA or the deficiency of the nutrients, right? So there can be many reasons, or if they have not enough ability to proliferate. Okay, so we know that G naught phase, if gets proper stimulation, right, if it gets proper stimulation from the growth factor, then this can enter into phase, right. Let's say this one is our G1 phase, and then the G1 phase enters into the S phase. The next phase is S phase. Okay, let's say this is our S phase or synthesis phase, right. And between them there is this important, okay, very important checkpoint. All right, the very first checkpoint, or let me just write CHK. Okay, this is cell checkpoint, and this is also called restriction point. Okay, and this is the major restriction point for G1 to progress to the S phase. Level of cyclins, right, level of cyclins like cyclin E has to go to the roof. Okay, and just for our ease, let us maintain, okay, let me make like this, and consider these dot lines are actually the threshold level. Okay, threshold level, or better let's call it optimum threshold level. That means for this cycle, this phase to enter into this phase, the level of the cyclin, the concerned or the respective cyclin has to reach to this threshold level. Only then the restriction point or the checkpoint will allow this phase to enter into the S phase. Okay, and I'll come into detail, but let us for us, okay, to understand the phases. So this is S phase, and then from the S phase comes the next phase, which is G2 phase or gap 2 phase or growth phase, and there is no checkpoint over here. All right, now then when a cell progresses to the growth phase, it has to enter into the mitotic phase. Okay, it has to enter into the mitotic phase, but between the mitotic phase, okay, if this is our mitotic phase, M phase or mitotic phase, then there is this big restriction or checkpoint. Okay, this is our checkpoint 1, this will be our checkpoint 2, this is also our restriction point. And we know in the mitotic phase there are 4 phases, right, which is prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, right, and telophase is followed by what? By cytokinesis, right, cytokinesis, it is followed by cytokinesis. And right in the M, in the mitotic phase, or between mitosis, metaphase and the anaphase, there is another checkpoint. Okay, so let's make the another checkpoint. So these are extremely important, and this is our checkpoint 3. Okay, so altogether we have 3 checkpoints for the cell to progress, and each of the phase to progress into the next phase, the level of the respective cyclin has to go beyond or reach the optimum threshold level. So now let us begin. We know how G naught phase enters into G1 phase, that is after the proper stimulation is obtained, and we know the phase, we know what happens in this phase, right. We've in our previous video we've discussed, and we've discussed that what happens is the cyclin D, okay, the cyclin D increases rapidly, right, and the level of the cyclin D complexes with its respective CDK, that is 4 and 6, and also generates the next cyclin, which is cyclin E. Okay, so it is cyclin E which reaches to the threshold level, and cyclin E in turn generates another cyclin, which is cyclin A. All right. So when there is optimum threshold level of cyclin E and when there is production of cyclin A, then the G1 phase enters into the S phase. But we have to know what happens when the level of cyclin D and cyclin E increases. So basically we know that when level of cyclin D increases, we have tremendous increase in the level of E2F, right? And E2F positively again increases the level of cyclin D, right? And obviously it will complex with what? With CDK4 and 6. So there will be high level of E2F as well as this complex. So E2F is essential for transcription, for expression of various genes, such as, let me write, such as the first point being pre-DNA replication, pre-DNA replication complexes or complex. Okay, pre-DNA replication complex. So it includes pre-DNA replication complexes are DNA polymerase, helicases, primase, single strand binding proteins, okay, origin recognition complexes, all the proteins that is required to attach in the ori of the DNA. Okay, for example, if I make a DNA, let's say if this is our DNA, all right, and somewhere if there is the ori, then we know ori is the site where the DNA replication begins, right? And for that DNA replication to begin, a necessary accumulation of the pre-DNA replication complex is required. So this pre-DNA replication complex will attach to a region where there is ori, okay? And once this is synthesized, now cyclin D and CDK4/6 complex will phosphorylate them and activate them. So synthesis is done by E2F, activation is done by cyclin D CDK4/6 complex. So this is their basic role. And not only this, but also duplication, duplication of cell organelles. Okay, so all the cell organelles like mitochondria, ribosomes, your centrioles, okay, all these organelles which is present, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, all these complexes multiply or will duplicate, and for their duplication obviously the enzymes and the proteins are required, and those are all synthesized by E2F and activated by this complex, all right. And so this phase, G1 phase, is highly important phase because almost all the proteins are synthesized and activated, and along with that all the cell organelles are also synthesized. So once our level of cyclin E reaches to the top, that means to the threshold level, and cyclin D obviously this initiated, right? So this moves on, then the restriction point, as it senses that E level has reached the threshold level, then it allows for this G1 phase to enter into the S phase. Okay, so let us see now in the S phase what happens. Now obviously we know in the S phase what will happen, DNA will replicate, right? So now here our DNA, let's say this is our DNA, all right, and this is our ori along with our pre-DNA replication complex, all of these are activated. Now you see here the cyclin A and here the cyclin A and CDK2, okay, this complex enters into the nucleus and will activate these complexes so that the DNA replication occurs, okay, so that the DNA replication occurs. Now obviously one strand is parental, the other strand is maternal, and the two strands are new DNA or daughter strands. So this is how DNA initiation and replication of initiation of DNA replication and completion of DNA replication is guided by cyclin A CDK2 complex, and then in a semi-conservative way the DNA is replicated. Okay, not only this, but in the S phase certain proteins like histones, we know histones, right? So certain proteins like histones are also synthesized. These are the octameric proteins where the DNA will be wrapped around. All right. And not many proteins are synthesized in S phase because almost all the proteins have been already synthesized in the G1 phase. That's why the gene expression level in the G1 phase is extremely high and the S phase is reduced. Now coming to the G2 phase, what happens is, you see now what happens, let's see here, because now DNA has replicated, okay, DNA replicated, all right, and what, and cell organelles duplicated, right? And now just imagine a cell has everything too, right, everything duplicated in the same cell size. So it is difficult for a cell to accommodate all that organelles and that DNA composition, right, and all the proteins and everything has duplicated. So it is difficult for cell to accommodate. That's why the cell increases its cell membrane, okay, it increases the cell membrane, and for the cell membrane what is required? Phospholipids are required, right? So phospholipid is synthesized more so that cell membrane can be increased, as well as there is increase in the cytosol. What is cytosol? Cytosol or cytoplasm. These are the fluids where all the cell organelles and proteins suspend, right? So these are kind of a fluid that is required for the cell. So all of these are also increased in G2 phase. And not only this, but in the next phase, in the mitosis, what happens? The DNA needs to be condensed, right? And DNA needs to be condensed, and then ultimately in the anaphase, the chromosome needs to be separated. So all the proteins that are required for all those purposes are synthesized in the G2 phase. Therefore, level of histones, okay, condensing, all right, and let me rub this, okay, we've already seen this. So more, what else? Histones, condensins, cohesins, okay, securine, separase, all right, microtubules, and as well as centriole. Centriole is a microtubule organizing center, right? And our centriole body, which has duplicated, will tend to move on the poles of the cell right from here, and the microtubules start to synthesize. So once all of this is taking place, what happens? The level of cyclin A increases more and more. It is actually because of the cyclin A and CDK2 complex that all of this action is taking place. All right. So in the S phase, cyclin A complexes with CDK2, while in the G2 phase, cyclin A complexes with CDK1. All right, and cyclin A will immediately fall down after it has synthesized cyclin A, and the cyclin D tends to in a very stationary way, it tends to increase or progress. All right, so once everything in the G2 phase has been synthesized, then what happens, this cyclin A level falls. But before it falls, cyclin A gives synthesis to the another important cyclin, that is cyclin B. Okay, it gives synthesis to another cyclin, which is cyclin B. So this is our cyclin B. All right, so the cyclin D tends to move still, and ultimately it will fall down. All right, and cyclin B, which we know tends to complex with CDK1. Okay, so this cyclin B complexing with CDK1, this all together is also known as MPF, or mitosis promoting factor or maturation promoting factor, and it is this that kind of progresses your P phase and M phase, that is prophase and metaphase, to enter into the anaphase. So before we go there, before we move on to anaphase, let us see what happens, what are the changes that takes place in the prophase. All right, so in the prophase, you see, in the prophase what happens now, what you have to consider is, all right, see, in G1 phase, the DNA is, if this is the nucleus, let's say this is the nucleus, the DNA is very loose. Okay, the DNA is very loose. The DNA is actually in the euchromatin form, which means very loose. Okay, and this tends to remain, the same thing tends to remain in the S phase as well. So even the newly formed DNAs, they are also in a very loose state. Okay, these are formed in a very loose state, or these are in the euchromatin form. Now see, when the DNA are very loose, it is then where your RNA polymerase can easily access to the segments of DNA, so that the gene expression can takes place. And that is why in our G1 phase the gene expression was extremely high, because the gene was loose, I mean the DNA was loose, and the RNA polymerase was easily accessible. In the S phase, whole focus was on DNA replication, that's why not much synthesis was taking place except for histones, but still the DNA was loose and histones were synthesized, right? And in the G2 phase, still the DNA is in the euchromatin form or in the loose form, that's why all these things, all these proteins were being synthesized. Okay, so still in our G2 phase, our DNA is still very loose in the nucleus. Okay, and don't forget that both the daughter and both the new daughter strands are inside in one nucleus, although the cell organelles have multiplied, but the nucleus is still one. Okay, now it is in the prophase that these DNA tend to condense, and you remember that we had a condensing protein already synthesized, and histones as well. So in the histones the DNA are wrapped very vigorously. At the same time, these DNA are further condensed tightly by condensing protein. Okay, and so okay, just look at here. Let's say if this is our DNA, okay, if this is our DNA, let's say if this is our DNA, then right here you can see that the DNA are coiled. Okay, the DNA are extremely coiled. The DNA are extremely coiled in the histones, but at the same time these DNA are condensed to make it more more compact, okay, and that is because of the condensin protein. While the another protein called cohesin, okay, this is called now kinetochore. Okay, in the kinetochore, these here you see these are sister chromatids. Now before they were in the loose chromatin form, or you can call them chromatin, okay, and now these are called chromosome. They are no longer called chromatin, these are called now chromosome. That means the compact or the tight form of chromatin is known as chromosome, and in the chromosome you can see the sister chromatids. Okay, if one is the parental, then the other will be your daughter. Okay, so other will be your daughter. So this is your parental and this is your daughter strand. All right, so we have two of them, right? So because two DNA were synthesized, this is one, the other will be right around here. Let me make them. So the next is here. Okay, so we have one, we have two. So in the prophase, basically what happens, the condensation of the chromatin takes place to form chromosome, and not only that, but also the sister chromatids are connected to the kinetochore by the help of another protein called cohesin. Okay, let's say there is this protein called cohesin which adhere. Cohesion means to adhere, right? So it adheres the sister chromatids in the kinetochore. And also there is another protein called securin and separase complex. They basically ensures that these sister chromatids are attached to the kinetochore properly and only divide in the anaphase. Okay, and not only this, but our centrioles, okay, but our centrioles, like I said, are by prophase they have already moved to the poles and they have begun synthesizing microtubules. All right, and ultimately in the metaphase what happens is that these sister chromatids align in the metaplate. Okay, let's say if this is our sister chromatids, all right, if this is our sister chromatids, okay, and these are our microtubules, sorry, if this is our, these are the centrioles, then the spindle fibers, okay, spindle fibers are formed to attach to the kinetochore, and then they tend to hold them. Okay, the microtubule tend to hold the kinetochore in the metaphase, and they align in the center of the plate. Okay, it is happening in the metaphase. Now as the level of cyclin B and CDK complex reaches to the threshold level and they form a complex known as mitosis promoting factor, then only this checkpoint, okay, checkpoint 3 allows the metaphase to enter into the anaphase. Okay, the same thing here, when the complex cyclin A reached to the threshold level, the G2 phase was progressed to the mitosis phase. Okay, so here you can see now what happens, this complex will kind of activate, will phosphorylate and will activate the complex. All right, now this can enter into the anaphase. All right, now in anaphase a next complex called APC, that is anaphase promoting complex, is synthesized, and this complex is unique because what this does is, okay, let me make it in a more bigger picture. All right, so APC, what it does is, we know there is a cohesin which is adhering these sister chromatids, right, which is adhering these sister chromatids. So and there is also a complex known as securin and separase. Okay, let's make securin and separase, securin and separase. So what happens, as this complex is formed, this complex will come and bind to securin. As a result, separase is free, and this separase will come and degrade the cohesin. Okay, these are cohesins. these are quiescence, they will degrade. As a result, these sister chromatids are now free from the kinetochore and they are pulled by the microtubules towards the opposite poles. Okay, so it is what happens in the anaphase, and they tend to go towards the pole. And by the telophase, what happens? Okay, the cyclin B level falls down. All right, will fall down. By the telophase, what happens? I forgot to mention, in prophase, the nuclear membrane, okay, these nuclear membrane tend to degrade. Okay, they tend to degrade and compacting occurs so that the chromosome is formed. In the telophase, however, the reverse happens and the nuclear membrane tend to appear. All right, the cell, the actin and myosin in the cell membrane tends to pinch the cell, all right, from the center, dividing all the contents equally into two half, and the chromosomes again tend to become loose. And ultimately in the cytokinesis, what happens? The cells are divided completely. The cells are divided completely, which is cytokinesis is that, right? So here you see, these are the nucleus, these are DNA, and all the membrane organelles are present here, and these are equally divided into half. Okay, again the fate of these cycles is the same. Either they will enter into G0 phase or G1 phase or not. Okay, so this is the cell cycle progression, and you could see how the checkpoints are important and how they allow each phase to enter into the other phase only when they sense the respective cyclins has reached to a threshold level. Okay, and one thing which is important to mention is that in G2 phase, the another very important thing which happens is that whatever the DNA which was replicated in the S phase will be checked to see if that DNA synthesis took place properly, whether if there were any damage or not. Okay, so here in the G2 phase, okay, what happens is that in the cell there is somewhere ATM, ATR. So these are the tumor suppressor proteins, and their main function is to proofread the DNA to find out if there is any damage in the DNA or not. If there is, then they will immediately, okay, these DNA damage sensing proteins, tumor suppressor proteins, will inform the guardian of the cell, which is P53 protein. Okay, this is the main tumor suppressor protein, and then this tumor suppressor protein will synthesize what? This will synthesize in the G2 phase a very important enzyme called DNA repair enzymes. Okay, these are extremely important, and these are synthesized because of P53. Okay, and only is in case if there is a damage in the DNA cell. So these DNA repair enzymes are what? Mismatch. We know there are so many enzymes like nucleotide excision repair enzymes, basic excision repair, mismatch repair, right? There are so many enzymes which will come and will repair the DNA. All right, and if the DNA is unrepairable, then what will happen? The P53 will synthesize another protein, okay, another protein which is called okay, which is if the DNA damage is unrepairable, then this will produce another protein called BAX. Okay, this protein will then what will do? Will cause apoptosis. Okay, for short, this protein will interact with the mitochondria of the cell and will cause apoptosis, so the cell death occurs. If only when if the DNA is unrepairable. Okay, so point to be noted is that the DNA damage sensing proteins are always there and sensing. If they sense any damage, they will first notify p53, which will produce DNA repair enzymes. These enzymes will then repair the enzyme. If not repairable, then again what will happen, the ATM ATR will again notify p53 that it is unrepairable. So then this will produce bags which will lead to apoptosis, and will cause cell death. So in this way cell cycle is regulated, and this is also one of the very important mechanism to help prevent cancer. Okay, so this was the cell cycle progression and what happens in each of the phase and how each of the phase progresses to the next phase. I hope it was easy to understand, and if any queries you can always write down the questions in the comment section. Okay, thank you.